Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I'm going to bring you the information for the Dallas Cowboys and a good number that I have for the Dallas Cowboys, as well as some of the things that I see from the Dallas Cowboys last year that hopefully next year that we can use to avoid or use to make a profit in the next season. So let's get to it. So obviously Dallas Cowboys had a week 7 bye, and as for the spread, I have a -2.5 for them. As you can see, all of their wins, 2.5 is a good number to go into the season uh, with for the Dallas Cowboys. And their strength of schedule, as you can see in my other video, if you haven't seen it, but they are dead last in strength of schedule. Let me look for them real fast. As we can see, Dallas Cowboys, there it goes. Cowboys, the 31st in strength of schedule. So with that being said, they should have a pretty good season this season. For division rivals or divisional opponents, I have a 46.5 to the over. I do like them to go over 46.5. And as far as these games, I'm going to go ahead and break down these games. Reason why I said 46.5, this is actually week 14. And like I said, everything after week 14, things start getting a little kind of crazy. And we've been noticing that pattern throughout these videos. For the regular season total, I do like a 45.5.5. Now, let's break down some of the things we definitely need to avoid. Now, if we're going to go bet on the Dallas Cowboys, we have to understand that they have an easy schedule. So we have to look for flat spots. And we have to look at teams where they face that have high power offenses and that actually are pretty good. And as you can see, everything highlighted are teams that were over 500, right? We have New Orleans. They just made it over 500. And that's another thing too. Teams over 500, if they have one game over 500 or one game under, I'm considering those teams average. All right. So I just look at them as a 500 team. I don't consider them, oh, they won one game over 500, they're above. No, because we have an extra game in the NFL. So that means that there are no teams that's going to be exactly 500. So I have to give them a little tolerance to put things in perspective. So as we have New Orleans. New Orleans finished 9-8. So if without that one game, they may be a 500 team or under. Or let me rephrase that. They probably might have been a 500 team without the extra game this season. We also have the New England Patriots, which they did pretty good. They were like 10-7, and as you can see, they scored 64 points. They could put up points. Also, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Los Angeles Chargers are in one of the toughest divisions, as well as the Denver Broncos. As you can see that they lost here, but the Chargers finished 10-7, or not the Chargers, those are the Raiders. Right here is the Chargers. They finished 9-8. So you see what I mean? These are average teams as far as their record is concerned and the way they play against them. So let's get into the Los Angeles to this number 2 game. So as you can see, I have it highlighted. This was a look ahead game. As you can see, they had to face the Philadelphia Eagles looking ahead. So I'm trying to figure out why did they only score 37. So obviously they left some of their offense on the table, didn't want to give out the whole thing, and want to come to Philadelphia with a bigger playbook, in my opinion. So that may be an excuse to why they only scored that many points and didn't put up a lot. Other than the fact that they probably wasn't able to, because again, the Chargers is in one of the toughest divisions in the league, as well as the Denver Broncos. The New England Patriots, not the Patriots, but the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings, as you can see right here at the bye week, after the bye week, they faced the Minnesota Vikings and only scored 36 points. Also, looking down here, we have the New Orleans Saints, week 13. This is also another look-ahead game. Week 13, week 14, they face Washington, and I'm sure they're looking to beat Washington. So as we can see right here, 46.5. If we avoid those games, maybe 45. Well, no, those are the defensive opponents. Yeah, so we're good with that one. So we got that one by a half a point. Regular season, we got 45.5, and this is the lowest game in the regular season, other than these games right here. In this Kansas City Chiefs game, we already understand why the Chiefs changed up their philosophy and didn't score a bunch of points, because as we've seen, they had Edwards-Helaire out, and that injury changed the whole dynamic of their offense. And in my opinion, I believe that the better team can control the tempo of the game. So that's my opinion. I'm still, investigating that. But from what I've been noticing, the better team can control the tempo. So that is one of the reasons why they only scored 28. Other than that, 47, 46 points from even Denver. So with that said, we look out for look-ahead games. Avoid those look-ahead games, betting over these totals for the look-ahead games, as well as after a bye week. And then the 2.5, if we can get these teams to 2.5, or get the Dallas Cowboys to 2.5, absolutely. Now, just a note, we have a couple trades, or a couple, trades recently from the Dallas Cowboys. That was Cedric Wilson. You had Amari Cooper. He went to the Browns. Cedric Wilson, he went to Miami. And can they still produce the same amount of offense that they did? They still have their tight end, which he was putting up good numbers. They still have Lamb. He was putting up good numbers. And you still have Turner, and they did draft another wide receiver in the draft this year. So, in my opinion, they did have someone else. Who was the other guy? I can't think of his name. But they have a weapon still. And one thing about Dak Prescott, he can get the ball to his right receivers. So with that being said, let's get into the opponents. And as I said before, we're avoiding look-ahead games as well as after the bye week, because as far as totals is concerned, but I do like the spread for this season. So that's one thing that I do like. So let's look at their opponents. And as you can see, all the games is highlighted. Light blue here are the divisional opponents, and everything marked in orange. And as we can go back here and see, everything marked in orange, like say for instance the Kansas City Chiefs, the Vegas, Arizona Cardinals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they lost to, right? Who with an impressive record have they won against? Nobody. They haven't beaten a team worth beating. So they haven't beat Tampa Bay. They got close. Don't get me wrong. They only lost by, was it 2 points there? Yeah, 2 points. They got close. They got close to these. It still didn't beat them. So with that being said, going forward into this season, here we go. Now, all those games that I just showed you, 3 points, right? 3 points. Kansas City Chiefs, they beat them by 10. Tampa Bay, that was 2. So if Tampa Bay is getting 2.5, it might be worth jumping on, in my opinion. If you can tease that number up, that would be ideal, because Dallas hasn't won. But going back, so if we could get them, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at like 3.5, that's perfect. Rams 3.5, perfect. Colts 3.5, perfect. Also, they may go under or lose this game, because it's a look-ahead game. They have 2 divisional games after the Cincinnati Bengals. Something to keep in mind. Then obviously, you have the Rams right in the middle of 2 divisional games, and then you have a third divisional game So the Rams are key to win this game. Again, this is I'm just determining the probability. So if the Cowboys beat the Rams, that isn't probable. But the Rams beating the Cowboys, and let's say for instance the Ram has no injuries and they're healthy, it's more probable that the Rams will beat the Cowboys. And then now you have this stretch of games. I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm not gonna say easy, but this is more probable that they're gonna win this game. More probable that they're gonna win this game. After the bye week, they face the Packers. The Packers do not have a number one wide receiver. So I'm thinking they're going to rely more on their defense and their run game this season. And I know they have Sammy Watkins and they have was it Lazard, but those guys are big. I'm sure they can catch the ball, fly balls, and everything. But as far as speed goes, they're going to be a slow-paced team. Also, you have the Minnesota Vikings. After that, I think the Vikings are going to be better than Green Bay this year. But the Vikings do have a new head coach, and their offense is going to be completely different. So I think they can definitely beat the Packers this year, depending on how the head coach is performing. They do have the pieces and the weapons, and they're a little better than the Packers. Then after the Vikings, which they can lose to the Vikings, and as we can see with their record right before a look-ahead game, it might be under the total if they have a high total. Like if we look at like a 52, we might want to go to the under with that game. Then you got the Giants. Then also you got the Colts. Two easy ones. Oh yeah. So you have two easy ones. A bye. I'm looking at the Cowboys to lose this one. Then you have this game right here. I'm looking at this game to be close. Let's go down again. Houston, I was looking at the Texans. I looked at the offensive line. Their offensive line looked tough. They got 6'5", 300-pounders on that offensive line. If they run the ball, and Lovie Smith is the head coach, so you know he's going to be running that Tampa 2. And they just drafted a corner and an offensive tackle, so hopefully, and a running back. So they may be a little more competitive this year. Houston. They may be a little more competitive, and they got a new wide receiver, so they are looking to do some damage this year, just to let you know. So this is not going to be an easy game as you suspect. So is it more probable that the Cowboys do win? Yes, it's more of a probability that they will win that game still. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars got a new head coach in Doug Peterson. I thought it was Leftwich, but Leftwich is still the head coach and not the head coach, but he's the offensive coordinator to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just looking at that. But as you can see, this Jacksonville Jaguars game, it may go to the under because they have a look-ahead game with the Philadelphia Eagles. And trust me, the Eagles are going to be tough this year, so they may lose this game. So if you're looking for an upset, that might be your upset look-ahead game. Also, we have the Tennessee Titans. Then you have another look-ahead game. So if they end up losing this game, they may lose this one and try to win. Try to focus more on the Washington Commanders. So with all that being said, this is week 14. This is the odd week mark. So what we are seeing, so like I said, you have Lovie Smith. If they got a bunch of overs, this might be an under game. For some reason they kind of do opposite after week 14, and it's kind of weird. But just to look at a couple of things with that schedule, with the Cowboys schedule. So that is the numbers I have, and that is my analysis on the team and what I see. Now obviously you guys might see something else, let me know. But also like, subscribe, share. I'm be coming with some more videos, and most importantly, bet wisely.